Hey everybody, what is going on? This is episode 3 of the KnicksNation podcast. I'm here joined by my co-host Chris. We are excited and thrilled to be talking about the New York Knicks. We're recording this on Saturday, March 4th, and the New York Knicks are currently on an 8-game winning streak. Chris, it has been delightful to be a New York Knicks fan. Things are clicking on all levels. But first, Chris, man, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm great, man. Knicks are streaking. We are winning almost every game now. I mean, we have won every game we played. I couldn't be any more happier than right now, man. How are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great, man. It has been such a joy to watch this team and, 8 straight victories. Chris, this is the second 8-game winning streak of this season, which is kind of crazy to think about. The way the season started out, they were under, I believe, 3 games under 500. Everything was spiraling out of control. And then, Thibodeau shortens rotation. They win 8 straight. And then, up and down play, and then another 8-game winning streak, Chris. I mean, it started before the All-Star break, right? They were playing really well together. Jalen Brunson, when he got snubbed from the All-Star game, he was simply telling the world and the universe, like, look, I'm an All-Star, and I deserve to be an All-Star. Player of the Month, Jalen Brunson, which is congrats to Jalen Brunson, all that. But, Chris, he won Player of the Month in February, and I believe he was the first Knick guard to do that in Knick history, which is kind of crazy to think about.
That's insane.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, 8 straight victories, Chris. Where do we begin? Where do you want to begin? What game do you want to begin? What do you want to begin as to how we got here? How do you think we got here?
I think that's pretty good. I mean, you summed it up pretty well in the beginning there. Knicks started off the season nowhere near to where they're at right now. I mean, you're talking about a turnaround once Tibbs shortened that rotation. The Knicks just kind of, you saw it wasn't quick, it wasn't right away, but it went from games where we were usually getting blown out to now, okay, we're in these games late, and we just couldn't close them. It's just insane how now we're basically winning these close games. We're closing out games left and right. We added Josh Hart. And they're just playing out of their minds. Like, it's insane. It's insane if you can think about where they came from.
It is, and like you said, the addition of Josh Hart at the trading deadline. Who would have thought that he would contribute as much as he has already? And they're undefeated with Josh Hart, Chris. They're undefeated with the return of Mitchell Robinson, who I believe hasn't missed a field goal since he's returned. So it's honestly unbelievable where this team is right now. And we're talking about playoffs in the Twitter chats, and we're talking about how far can this team go. But what I want to do is give props to how we got here, man. And it starts with Jalen Brunson, and it starts with Julius Randle. Julius Randle has had, during this run, has had an amazing season up to this point. All-star Julius Randle. And then you can complement that with the play off the bench of Immanuel Quickley, Chris. I mean, this guy, when I tell you Immanuel Quickley has improved drastically, he has simply upped his game to another level, and he's playing consistently. He's playing defense. He's playing with joy. And to have him come off the bench with Josh Hart, Chris, during this winning streak, it has simply been a joy. And Immanuel Quickley, man, I mean, he's been playing really well for the Knicks team, and he's been a huge part of why we're here.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the bigger parts of it as well. I mean, you have Quickley, who went from, being a good player, able to knock down shots, but he was lacking defensively. Comes in this year, and, early on, that was one of the bright spots. Quickley was just a demon on the defensive end, continues to be that, and, now you got to give him the flowers. It's not a fluke. This guy can ball, whether it's offense, defense. He's just a big spark for us, especially off the bench. And like you said, pairing him with Josh Hart, that's just nasty now. That's just nasty. Not too many people thought that Josh Hart trade, a lot of people were scratching their heads like, this doesn't really move the needle. But here we are, 8-game winning streak, haven't lost since he's got here.
Yeah.
It's good time to be a Knicks fan.
I mean, we are 11 games over 500. They are 38-27. They have victories during this 8-game winning streak versus the Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics, the Utah Jazz, the Atlanta Hawks. They're simply clicking on all cylinders. They're winning away from the Garden. They're winning at home now, which has been, an important sticking point. They're winning at home because before before this, we were having our struggles in Madison Square Garden. They couldn't just find a rhythm in Madison Square Garden, but now they're winning at home. MSG's rocking, the crowd's rocking. So it started versus the Utah Jazz, and then we beat the Brooklyn Nets. We finally ended the streak versus the Brooklyn Nets, and then went to Atlanta, win at Washington, win. That Atlanta game was before the All-Star break, and then we won before the All-Star break. We blew them out in Atlanta, and then after the All-Star break, we have wins against the Wizards, the Pelicans, the Celtics, the Nets, and none other than the thriller of the victory in Miami and South Beach when Julius Randle just simply went bananas. 43 points for Julius Randle and possibly the shot of his career.
Oh, my God.
I mean, when that shot went up, Chris, I mean, what was your thoughts? What was your reaction to that shot? I mean, I was simply in awe. Like, I felt like a little kid again. I felt like a little Knick fan again, like a little giddy Knick fan again.
Yeah, I mean, Julius has been playing so well that, maybe in the past when Julius was having a rough year, I would probably be like screaming at my TV at that point, like, why are you taking that shot? But for some reason, you felt like it was just going to go in because this guy was just on fire, and he just has a knack for hitting threes with 2 or 3 people draped on him for some reason this season. But that must have been that has to be like his signature win as a Knick, I think, by far.
Yeah.
I mean, hell of a shot, man. And you're talking about Jimmy Butler draped all over him.
Poke the ball out a few times.
Yeah, exactly. Like, to keep your focus and get that shot off in time. This wasn't the Randle a couple months back where he just dribbled into a double team and didn't get a shot off at the end of the game.
No.
But, wow. Julius Randle, he's just on a tear.
The degree of difficulty that Julius Randle, that shot was simply incredible.
Yeah.
Even his son after the game, there was a video going around with his son saying, "How did he make that? How did he make that?" Like, it was adorable. It was cute. But yeah, I mean, big win in Miami. That crowd was probably 60-40 Knicks fans. I had a friend go down to that game as well, and he was like, yeah, it was 60-40. The New York Knicks fans took over the arena. But I mean, yeah, this team has just, the thing about this team is, like, in years past when, like, during games when teams would answer back during, like, let's say the Knicks go up like 10 and teams will answer back and maybe tie the game and take the lead. The Knicks are answering right back. They're punching right back. They're, answering their opponent's runs. In years past, that wasn't the case. We would just give up these big leads and lose these games. And now it's like you have guys coming in off the bench. You have Immanuel Quickley. You have Josh Hart. You have Hardenstein, who has played well. You have, now you have Grimes, the All-Star, and Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. We're playing as a team. We're playing really well, and everyone's playing well. And it's honestly refreshing to see, and it's, it's crazy that we're at this point, right? I mean, if I was to tell you during, like, the first, 15 games of the season that we would be on March 4th, 11 games over 500, fighting for the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, possibly getting home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. Like, you would think I was crazy, like, right? Like, you would think, like, yeah, right. Come on, Anthony. That's insane. That's insane. That's unheard of. But hey, here we are, and we're at this point. Like, the 4th seed is real, Chris. Like, we're right there. We're right there.
It's right there. I mean, that's what everybody thought. I mean, going into the season, remember, Knicks were supposed to be a play-in team. Like, that was the ceiling, basically, that they gave us.
Yeah.
And here we are, right there, in it for the 4th seed. Again, the way the Knicks started, you probably would have thought, all right, yeah, play-in is where we're going to get to. That's our ceiling, if we can. But, man, have they just gone above and beyond that. And, of course, playing as well as we're playing, those expectations have now become second round. We got to get to the second round. That's all I keep hearing now.
Yeah, expectations have shifted in many Knicks fans' eyes, and I don't know. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But at the same time, it's like the way this team has play, the way that things have transpired. One game behind the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're 19-12 away from the Garden, 19-15 in Madison Square Garden. We passed the Brooklyn Nets with no problem, no issues. Remember the Brooklyn Nets were the 5th seed? Like it feels like a few days ago, and then we all of a sudden jumped them, and now we're 2 games ahead of the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, they won against Boston. They had a good win, but I believe they could drop to the play-in tournament, but the Miami Heat are a mess. So right now, I do think the Knicks are locked in, the 5th or 4th slot. And it's whether or not you believe that the Knicks can jump the Cleveland Cavaliers. We have 1 game left against Cleveland this year, Chris. It's on March 31st on a Friday night. That should be a huge game. Like, let's say we're ahead of them a game, or, it's a half a game. That's a big game. And then, who's to say we can't jump them? And we've beaten them this year, so I don't know, man. Yeah. I mean, things are getting crazy. Things are getting crazy.
It's definitely awesome to think that we can catch the Cavs. I mean, we are right there. That game is definitely going to be an important one. Yeah. Whether we even match up with them in the playoffs is a whole nother thing too. That's going to be a hell of a series if it turns out to be that way.
That's what it's looking like, though.
I mean, it is, which is ridiculous considering it's going to be the Donovan Mitchell. Could have gone to either team. I guess
that's all we're gonna hear during that series.
That's all you're gonna. Yep.
That's all we're gonna hear.
And of course, if we don't win that series, it's gonna be you should have got Donovan. But it's exciting to even again considering the way the Knicks started this season, what we were projected to be, where we're at now, fighting for that 4th seed. That I keep saying house money, sky's the limit. I'm not saying we're gonna win a chip, but I guarantee you no team wants to play us.
I said it on one of the streams too. I said no team, exactly what you just stated. I said no team wants to deal with the New York Knicks in a playoff series. Cleveland, Philly. I mean, what is the ceiling of this Knicks team? Is it second round? Kendrick Perkins a couple of weeks ago said the ceiling of this New York Knicks team is the Eastern Conference Finals. He said that's the ceiling. He said he didn't predict it. He said that's where we could get to. The way the Knicks are playing, they could beat anybody. And Chris, Boston has gone through their stretches this year. I mean, they're still a great team. The team to beat in the East, in my opinion, is Milwaukee. So you have Milwaukee, Philly. I don't trust Philly. Like, I don't trust Philly at all. I mean, it's going to be a tough matchup, but I'm just saying, we get matched up. Right now, it's looking like the Cleveland Cavaliers because you look at Miami Heat and the Brooklyn Nets. I don't see Brooklyn jumping us, and I don't see us falling too far behind where we fall behind Brooklyn. So you look at the standings, and you have the Cavs right in front of you. It's like we're locked. We're locked in the 5th or 4th seed. And, some people in the stream were like, oh, maybe we get into the 3rd seed. Who knows? Maybe the Philadelphia 76ers come down a little bit. I mean, I would worry about the Cleveland Cavaliers first before we talk about the 3rd seed. But, Chris, if we get matched up, let's say we get the 4th seed. We're facing Cleveland, 7-game crazy series, dog series. Donovan Mitchell coming to the Garden. Jalen Brunson, back-to-back playoff appearances against Donovan Mitchell. We all know what he did last year to Donovan Mitchell, right? In case y'all forgot, he lit him up. Destroyed him. Like he's been doing all season long for the New York Knicks. But I'm talking about on a whole nother level, like dropping 40-plus points on him. So what's your prediction if that was the case? Cavs, Knicks, first round, dogfight, juggernaut matchup.
I mean,
I'm putting you on the spot right now.
I mean, of course, I love the Knicks. I've always said it. The Knicks seem to just match up really well with the Cavs, and it's vice versa. They match up well with us. But I feel like the Knicks can win that series. I really do. I mean, if you contain Donovan Mitchell, I think the rest it's not a piece of cake, but I think that's the biggest piece for them, and I think that's what you see a lot of times when the Cavs lose. If Donovan Mitchell isn't going off or having a really great game, they kind of struggle to find their offensive flow.
Yeah.
Whereas, the Knicks, it's kind of organic. You got Brunson doing his thing. You got Randle doing his thing. One night it could be Grimes. Then you got IQ coming off the bench. You're not just relying on, specifically one person to get all your offense,
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, the Cavs, they can score. Garland can score. They got Mobley out there. Those are all guys that can fill it up too. But I just feel like right now the Cavs offense is just Donovan Mitchell centric. So, I think we can use that to our favor. Obviously, the playoffs are a whole nother animal. Coaches are going to change everything up
Yeah.
from the regular season. But I like the Knicks, man. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
right?
Of course. I mean, we're biased. We may be biased, but I would pick the Knicks in that series too, man. The way they're playing right now, the way they're clicking on all cylinders. I mean, we still got like 17 games left of the season, so
Right.
things could change. Things can go 180, but I don't think that will take that course. But so yeah, that will be a fun series in itself. But let's get back to these current Knicks and how they're playing. They're playing well. They're playing on all. They're clicking on all cylinders, as we know. But if there was anything to nitpick at, it would be R.J. Barrett. R.J. Barrett, during this streak, the Knicks have been winning. They've been playing really well, and that's sort of like masking his play, right? He's not playing great, and he's not playing terrible. He's just middling right now. He's like playing, and one thing that concerns me about Barrett is his defense. His defense this season has taken a step back. During the game versus Miami Heat, Tyler Herro, they were running him off screens all night long. They were just running RJ Barrett in circles. And Chris, I mean, RJ Barrett got his money this summer. And, we thought that he was going to take that next step. We thought that possibly he would become an all-star. But if anything, this season he has taken a step back. And, RJ Barrett hasn't been playing great at all.
Yeah, RJ, I've said this a few times too. He's maddening. I mean, he'll have a game where he just plays out of his mind. He's efficient. He'll go like 7 for 12, hit a couple threes. And you'll see him engaged on defense, and then he'll have 2 or 3 or 4 games where he's just chucking up anything, basically. And
can't hit anything.
And he can't hit anything.
Yeah.
And then instead of driving in and trying to draw contact or do what he does best, which is supposed to be finishing, he's settling for 3-point shots. So RJ is definitely maddening. It would be nice to see him snap out of it and just find some type of consistency, because I really think the Knicks can take another, like a huge leap if he was contributing more. I just think, it's almost like he's kind of lost on trying to figure out his role between Randle and Brunson having such great season.
Yeah, I do think that's part of it. I do think that he's trying to figure out where he fits, yet he's still averaging 19.4 points a game. He's shooting 43% from the field. He's shooting 33% from 3, which is, last year he shot 34%. So, he's taking a step back from behind the arc. Free throw percentages has improved, but his defense has taken a step back. And, I do think that he's trying to find his way. And I do think sometimes he's getting lost, but, during this streak, he's one of the first Knicks to go to the bench. Tom Thibodeau's itching to put in Immanuel Quickley, as he should, along with Josh Hart. He's itching to put those two in, and RJ's going to the bench. And then RJ Barrett is coming back in the game in the second quarter with the bench unit. He's not playing with the starters most of the time. So it seems like the Knicks know that. They're trying to, jumpstart him. They're trying to get him going. And, I would say, like, early on in the season, the offense, you would say, would run through RJ Barrett when he would come in with the bench. But the way Quickley's been playing and Hart, like, I can't say that anymore. It's like the offense is running through Quickley now. And then RJ Barrett is sort of like this bystander. But he still gets to the basket. He still scores. He could still knock down an occasional 3-point shot. It's just been inconsistent this season. Want to see more consistency out of RJ Barrett. But yeah, like you said, if we're talking about the playoffs, if we're talking about going on a deep run, RJ Barrett needs to be that guy, that third guy. Along with Quentin Grimes. Like we've seen versus the Nets, when Quentin Grimes was like going off, lighting up the court, just unlocks a whole new dimension for this New York Knicks team. So if Barrett can, just be consistent and on the defensive end, just lock in, man. It's frustrating at times watching him on the defensive end. It really is. Like, yeah, but and I think, go ahead.
I think that's the most frustrating part is that, a season ago, he was so engaged on the defensive end. He wanted to guard the best player on the other team, and he was doing it for a good amount of time that season. He was up for the task. He didn't look silly. He didn't get, dominated. He might have not stopped the guy every night, but, he was just moving better. And then this year, he seems heavy, he seems slow,
Yeah.
doesn't seem interested on defense. And it's not even about his scoring. I mean, it would be nice to have more scoring from RJ, efficient scoring, I should say, because he is scoring, but being more efficient would be nice.
Yeah.
But just having him there and using, his body, his length, and just playing good defense it would do wonders for this Knicks team. It'll bring us to a whole nother level just with that aspect alone. And it just seems for whatever reason it's just not clicking for him, which is a shame. And I mentioned it before. I mean, do you eventually have to bring RJ off the bench?
Yeah, I mean, people brought that up, but I don't see them doing that because, essentially he is playing with the bench unit when he's most of the game. He is mostly playing with the bench unit. He's starting right now, but the way Quickley's been playing off the bench, I don't want to mess up that second unit.
Yeah.
Quickley, Hart, their chemistry, and Hart. The thing about RJ is like, yeah, he's starting, but who is closing games?
Exactly. Yep.
Has it been RJ? No. It's been Josh Hart and Immanuel Quickley. They've been closing these games, and they've been doing a good job. I mean, and credit to Tom Thibodeau because he's like, hey, yeah, your name is RJ Barrett. Yeah, you got paid this summer, but if you're not playing well, I got guys coming in off the bench that, are playing their ass off and are playing better. And, yeah, RJ Barrett just needs to figure it out, just needs to click with him. Hopefully he can figure it out because in the playoffs, we need another guy. Brunson and Randle would do their thing, hopefully, I'm sure. But RJ Barrett, if they can get 20 to 25 points a night from RJ Barrett, it just unlocks a whole new dimension for this Knicks team. And he's capable of doing it, Chris, because this season he has shown his flashes, right? It's like up and down with him. And that's like the most frustrating part with RJ Barrett. It's just up and down, consistent. And he goes on these stretches and we're like, oh, there's RJ Barrett. There he is. There's the RJ Barrett we all know. And then he hits like a wall. And it's like everyone's talking negative about him on Twitter. And, it's not a good time when RJ Barrett isn't playing well. And he's still super young, so maybe he's going through some things behind the scenes that we don't know about. But hopefully he can get it right. Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, like you said, he's shown flashes, and if we can just get that on a more consistent basis, it'll do wonders for us. It sucks. It sucks that he's having this type of season, but I mean, like you said, he is young. I know he's been in the league for a bit now, and he should he should be more efficient by now. But everybody is different in this league, so
yeah,
look at Jalen Brunson.
I know for sure. So the New York Knicks acquired Josh Hart during the NBA trading deadline, and Chris, I didn't know that he was going to make an impact the way he has been. He's been passed around the league a few times. Why? I don't know. Honestly, every team seems like they need a Josh Hart on their team. And his presence, his craftiness around the rim, he could shoot the three-point shot, his defense, his grittiness, his antics on the court, he's joking around a lot. He's a jokester. Every team needs that guy. And Chris, the Knicks are now undefeated with Josh Hart. They're 8-0 with Josh Hart. And he's a part of that, right? It's not like it's just, everyone else is playing well and Josh Hart is a passenger, right? He's not a passenger. No. He's playing really well. He's closing out these games. And Josh Hart, I didn't think his impact was going to be this huge, but Chris, man, oh man, it's good to have Josh Hart on the New York Knicks. It really is.
Yeah, I really like the Josh Hart trade to the Knicks. He's such a good player for us. He fits right in with the group of guys we got. I mean, talk about a perfect fit in my opinion. He's just somebody that he doesn't impact the box score with everything he does, but I think that's the best part about Josh Hart. He doesn't need to score a lot of points. He just always seems to be at the right spot at the right time. He just has a knack for always being around the ball, getting offensive boards, for a guard. And he does all the little small things, all the dirty plays, where you want to get, he's just a dog, man. I guess that's where I'm getting at. He's just a dog. He does all the little things you'd want somebody to do. And he just fits so well with this Knicks team that, I don't think anybody saw him having the type of impact he's having for us. And it's no coincidence that the Knicks have gone from a team that can't close out games to now You plug in Josh Hart to close out games for you with an Immanuel Quickley, Julius Randle, and Jalen Brunson, and here we are, 8-game winning streak.
Yeah, when he was rumored to the New York Knicks, I was excited. You was excited. Like a lot of Knicks fans were like, okay, Josh Hart, right? I mean, he will fit like a glove. He slid into the Deuce McBride role, and he has played tremendously for the Knicks. They're undefeated with him. Eventually, they're going to, wind up losing here. I mean, they're not going to go undefeated throughout the rest of the season. That's for sure. But, yeah, Josh Hart has come into New York City. He's called it home already. He's probably going to become a free agent this summer. He's already talking about an extension. He's already talking about making the city his long-term home. And, I'm just excited for what he's bringing to this New York Knicks team. He's really bringing joy to everyone else. Like you said, he's a dog. He's a junkyard dog. And, we've been missing that, man. We've been missing that guy who just comes in and, excites the fans, waves to the fans, gets them up. And it's just, like, really cool to see Josh Hart. And he's just been amazing, man, along with the whole bench unit, along with Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson. I mean, this team has been simply incredible to watch this season. 11 games over 500, Chris. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
The way it started, certainly, it's insane to go from fire Tibbs, clean house, get everybody out of there,
Yeah.
And now we're here, and I've come around on Julius. I'm like, man, this guy can ball, man. When he's going, he's going. Jalen Brunson, I feel like unlocked a part of his game, or at least brought him back to that level that he was at before. And Jalen Brunson himself, I mean, Josh Hart, Mitch having a low-key good season. I mean, he's such an important, even though we played pretty well without him in the lineup, having him shows you, just how good he is and the difference he makes in there for us. So lots of positive things going on with the Knicks. It's hard to be, it's hard to nitpick, really. I mean, 8-game winning streak. Everybody's feeling good in New York. And I mean, this has to be one of the most fun seasons I've had, watching the Knicks.
Yeah, you and me both, man. It's been a while, and hopefully they can keep cooking, man. Hopefully they can keep cooking. Yes. Chris, do you see the New York Knicks making a run in the playoffs?
Absolutely. I mean, the way that we're playing now, I mean, barring some ridiculous type of like losing streak, which I just don't see happening with the way that we're playing. I'm not saying we're going undefeated the rest of the way either, but I just think, again, I don't think anybody wants to see us, in the playoffs. We've beaten the Celtics twice, I believe now, right? Which is something that I believe in the division hasn't been done.
Yeah.
But here on the Knicks, going toe to toe with Boston, and I think they just have all the confidence, the way they're playing, the way Tibbs has been coaching, sky's the limit, in my opinion. I mean, obviously we'll take it matchup by matchup, but I really do think the Knicks can get into at least the second round. And even though, just getting there, you never know what's going to happen.
Never know. You never know. We have
gotta believe.
We gotta believe, man. You gotta believe. We have 17 games left of this season. It's crazy how fast this season has come and gone. I mean, 17 games left. That's still a lot. Still a little bit much of a game. Like, it's still a lot of games. I'm not saying, season's over next week, but 17 games left, Chris. Predict their record. Predict their record these next 17 games.
That's tough. I want them to win them all.
Don't we all? But I guess I can go first. I think the Knicks, 17 games left. They have a West Coast trip coming up at Sacramento, at the Clippers, at the Lakers, at Portland. And then, schedule gets, kind of easy. I say if we go 9-8, 10-7, does that get us into the 4th seed? If you took a look at the Cavs schedule, cupcake schedule. So, comparing the Cavs schedule to the Knicks schedule, it's going to be tough, but it's doable, very doable. And March 31st is the game versus Cleveland at Cleveland. So 9-8 or 10-7 is my prediction. And I think, when it's all said and done, I do think the Knicks finish where they're at, the 5th seed. So, I mean, who's to say? I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we get the 4th seed. But it's been an exciting time. The New York Knicks are on an 8-game winning streak. Chris, 17 games left. What's your prediction?
Yeah, I'm right around that 10, 10-7. That's
Yeah.
what I would like to see. Obviously, honestly, I would like to see undefeated, but that's not reality. But
Yeah.
um, I think 10-7, maybe even 11-6. Even the Knicks are just playing very well. I could see them doing something like that, and I wouldn't be shocked again if we catch the Cavs because the Cavs have been really on and off.
Yeah.
It could be losing to the Hornets or a team like that. So you never know what you're gonna get from the Cavs, it seems nowadays. But let's just hope the Knicks keep on, playing well, winning games, and come the end of the season, let's see where we're at. Hopefully, it's that 4th spot.
Hopefully we do get that 4th seed. 17 games left, a lot of games to play, and the way the New York Knicks are playing. But hey, this has been fun. This is episode 3 of the Knicks Nation podcast. We will be here every single week breaking down the New York Knicks up until the playoffs. Probably, podcasts after every playoff game, right? It's that exciting when it comes playoff time. But yeah, man, appreciate you guys joining in, tuning in. If you're on Apple, Spotify, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up button. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Chris, man, it's been a pleasure as always, brother.
As always.
As always, it is Let's Go Knicks. And until next time, peace.